And a very good morning to you, YouTube. What's going on with you? What's going on with you? Before I start this video, and uh, so I want to explain. Sorry for no video last night. When I said I was going to be back, as you know, I had to work today, so I didn't get a chance to do no video last night because had to get ready for work. But here I am, so I'm going to give you the stats and stuff from last night. Then I'm going to be back. I'm actually going to pause this video, be back, change jerseys for tonight's games, and give you a preview for tomorrow's games. Okay? So let's get right into it. And before we start, once again, remember, if you happen to come upon this video and you're browsing YouTube, you come upon this video, hit the, and you like it, give me the good thumbs up doodle. It's very important. Also, click subscribe if you want to subscribe, and click the bell notification if you want information on when I download a new video, or should I say upload a new video. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Last night we had two games early, and as you know, Shannon, the hockey guy, he does the early games first, and then he does the rest of the games later. Interesting, isn't it? So here are all the games. Starting with the Rangers at Ottawa. Rangers entered the matchup at 3-1-1 and 7 points. The Sens were 2-2-0 and 4 points. And believe it or not, after 60 minutes, the final score was Rangers 3, Senators 2. Shots on goal were 28 for Ottawa, 26 for the Rangers. Saves 26 for the Rangers, 23 for Ottawa. Power play was 1 for 4 for the Rangers, Ottawa 0 for 4. Rangers pick up their fourth win and their ninth point overall. Pretty good. As for the Rangers, for Ottawa, 2 out of 5. Anything can still happen, folks. You never know. All right, next, Calgary at Washington. Entering the matchup, Calgary was 1-1-0 and 3 points. Washington 3-0-1 and 7 points. Now this had to go to the extra period. And at the end, Washington loses by a score of 4-3. Calgary beats them 4-3. Shots on goal, 27 for Calgary, 27 for Calgary, Washington 25. Saves, 22 for Calgary, 23 for Washington. The power play 1 for 3 for Calgary, 0 for 4 for Washington. Well, Washington picks up another point. They're at 8 now, but Calgary picks up a very important 2. Now, by the way, as you know, the standings, they go by points. They don't go by your wins, technically. So you can be undefeated, but if you've got more points than your division rival, you're in first place, technically, or you're ahead of them. Or depending on how the series is, your season series is, that's kind of weird. All right, now let's get to the games that I picked and see how I did. Starting off with Minnesota at Anaheim. I said Minnesota will win. Entering the matchup, Anaheim was 2-3-0 and 4 points. Minnesota 3-0-0, undefeated. This game also had to go to an extra period, overtime, and the final score was Minnesota Wild 4, Ducks 3. Shots on goal were 36 for the Wild, Ducks 24. Now I gotta make sure you know I'm reading this from the sheet. Saves 21 for Minnesota, 32 for Anaheim. The Wild were 0 for 4 on the power play with the Ducks 1 for 3. So the Wild pick up their fourth win, stay undefeated, but the Ducks pick up a very important point too. By the way, if you notice why I'm looking at the bed, by the way, my bed's right here. Sparky's here. Hey, buddy. No, no. Hold on. Sorry about that. Here, buddy. Behave. Here, behave. I want you in here still. Dad's mad, okay? So, behave. All right, let's get back into it. So I got one right so far. Next, I said Nashville will win against the Jets. Entered the matchup. Nashville was 1-3-0 and 2 points. Winnipeg 1-2-1 and 3 points. And after 60 minutes, Winnipeg 6, Nashville 4. Shots on goal 29 for Winnipeg, 30 for Nashville. Saves 26 for Winnipeg, 23 for Nashville. Winnipeg was 2 for 3 on the power play, with Nashville 2 for 4 on the power play. Well, Winnipeg picks up their second win, so we'll see what can happen. Still a long season, folks. Literally, it's a long season. Next, Detroit goes to Montreal. Entering the matchup, Detroit was 2-1-1 and 5 points. Montreal hasn't won a game yet, 0-5-0 after 60 minutes. Montreal 6, Detroit 1. Montreal wins a game finally. Shots on goal 24 for Montreal, Detroit 27. Saves 26 for Montreal, 18 for Detroit. Power play 1 for 4 for Montreal, Detroit 1 for 3. Montreal, like I said, picks up their first win of the season. Can this be first of many? We'll see what can happen. But this is their worst start, one of their worst starts in history. Can they improve? Hope. Well, I'm 1 for 3. Can I improve? Well, let's find out. Next is Colorado at Tampa. Entering the matchup, Colorado was 1-3-0 and 2 points. Tampa was 2-2-0 and 4 points. This game had to go to a shootout. So basically, after 65 minutes, 65 minutes, the score was 3-3. In this shootout, I went 6 rounds. And Colorado went 3 for 6. Tampa 2 for 6. That means Colorado picks up the extra point. They won by the score of 4-3. Shots on goal were 32 for Tampa, 27 for Colorado. Shots on saves, 29 for Colorado, 24 for Tampa. 1 for 6 on the power play for Colorado, 0 for 3 for Tampa. Well, despite picking up just 1 point, Tampa gets a pretty good assist, so that's pretty good. These can improve. But Colorado picks up that very important 2 points. Next, Buffalo and New Jersey. Entered the matchup, Buffalo was 3-1-0 and 6 points. New Jersey 2-1-0 and 4 points. This game had to go to extra period. Man. Fourth game, they had to go to extra period. One game win the shootout. And after that, New Jersey wins 2-1. Shots on goal, New Jersey 39, Buffalo 25. Saves 24 for the Devils, the Sabres 37. Power play, the Devils were 1 for 3 on the power play with Buffalo at 1 for 2. Well, New Jersey picks up their third win, which is very helpful for them. But Buffalo loses in regulation finally, so they pick up a very important point, though. So we can see what can happen going into later in the season. There's plenty of season left, folks. You know that. There's still plenty of season left. Next is Florida at Philadelphia. Entering the matchup, Florida was undefeated at 4-0-0 and 8 points. Philadelphia 2-0-1 and 5 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, Florida wins 4-2. Shots on goal were 31 for Florida, 29 for Philadelphia. Both teams got 27 saves. Florida was 1 for 7 on the power play, with Philadelphia 1 for 4. So Florida picks up their 5th win of the season, giving them 10 points in their first in the Atlantic Division. Anything can happen, folks. Like I said, the season's long. Now, this year we got an 82-game season. So look out. I like drinking the Zero brand, folks. So, okay. Next was Toronto at Pittsburgh. Entering the matchup, Toronto was 2-1 and 5 points. Pittsburgh 2-0-2 and 6 points. After 60 minutes, Pittsburgh wins by a score of 7-1. Shots on goal were Pittsburgh 33, Toronto 29. Saves 28 for Pittsburgh, 26 for Toronto. 1 for 5 on the power play was Pittsburgh, 0 for 3 for Toronto. So Pittsburgh picks up their 3rd win of the season. But hey, you never know what can happen, folks. Now these teams are going to meet again later in the year. You never know. Next, Carolina at Columbus. Entering the matchup, Carolina was undefeated at 3-0-0. Columbus 3-1-0. Both had 6 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, Carolina wins 5-1. Shots on goal were Carolina 33, Columbus 28. Saves 27 for Carolina, Columbus 28. Carolina was 3 for 6 on the power play, with Columbus 1 for 4. So Carolina stays undefeated. They're 4-0. Can anything else happen? You never know. We'll find out later. Next, the game that I went to, the Blues home opener. And folks, there are people who don't like the new COVID rules. Okay, first off. But you know what, though? We had a packed house. Literally, the arena was packed. It was sold out. I mean to tell you, folks, it was great being at the game, being back. I really don't like the cashless. I only really had a few drinks. I had a soda to start off. Then I bought me a Bud Light seltzer. But I want to tell you this. It was great, especially hearing the goal horn. Standing up after every goal, high-fiving everyone around me, and then going, oh, hey, it was great. It's just great to see everyone. And you ready for this? Perron got a hat trick. Now, what I do is when a hat trick happens, I go like this. I extend my hat, and I go like this. I extend it, and I go, yeah. That's my salute. I don't know why people throw the hats. But, an interesting statistic, I heard it was the Brooklyn Manhatters or Brookfield Manhatters started the tradition of hats being thrown on the ice. Kind of weird, right? All right, so let's get right into it. Entering the matchup, the Kings were 1-2-1 and 3 points. The Blues were undefeated at 3-0-0 and 6 points. At the end of 60 minutes, the Blues won 7-3. Shots on goal were 40 for the Blues, 35 for LA, 32 saves for the Blues or for Benny, 33 for LA. Blues went 4 for 7 on the power play. 4 for 7. Kings 0 for 4. So these two teams will go at it again tomorrow or later today. I'm really looking forward to it, and we'll get to that later. Next was the New York Islanders at the Coyotes at Arizona. Entering the matchup, the Owls were 1-2-1 and 3 points. Arizona haven't won a game yet, but they lost in regulation. They got a point, and their record was 0-3-1. At the end of 60 minutes, Arizona just keeps not having the luck. They lose by a score of 3-0. Shots on goal were 24 for the Islanders, 26 for the Coyotes. Owls were 26 saves. 26 saves are the Islanders. The Coyotes, 21 saves. Why do I keep saying Arizona? Islanders were 1 for 2 on the power play with the Coyotes 0 for 1. Fourth loss for the Coyotes. I think the news of them not coming back to Gila River Arena, Glendale, it's kind of hurting them. And they're in a new division. They're no longer in the Pacific. They're now in the Central. You gotta wonder, is this hurting the team? And finally, Vancouver at Seattle entered the matchup. Vancouver was 2-2-1 and 5 points. Seattle in their home opener 1-3-1 and 3 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, Vancouver wins 4-2. Shots on goal were 26 for the Canucks. The Kraken 31 saves. Vancouver 29. The Kraken got 22. 1 for 4 on the power play were the Canucks, and the Kraken were 0 for 2 on the power play. Third win for the Canucks, and their 7th point. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to change jerseys real fast, and we'll get into tonight's games. And we're back. Yeah, so if you notice there's a pause and you see me wearing a different jersey, I had to change it real fast. Okay, we have 4 games on the dock today. Let's get right into it. San Jose was in Boston today, entering the matchup. San Jose was undefeated at 4-0-0 and 8 points. Boston was 2-1-0 and 4 points. At the end of 60 minutes, Boston wins 4-3. The Bruins for shots on goal were 34 for the Bruins, 26 for the Sharks. Saves 30 for the Sharks, 23 for the Bruins. The Bruins were 1 for 3 on power play, while the Sharks were 0 for 2. Well, the Sharks is their first game, and the Bruins pick up their 3rd win of the season. Next, Nashville at Minnesota. Entering the matchup, Nashville was 1-4-0 and 2 points. Minnesota undefeated at 4-0-0 and 8 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, Nashville wins 5-2. Shots on goal 29 for the Preds, the Wild 35. Saves 33 for the Preds, Wild 24. 2 for 6 for Nashville. Wild was 0 for 5 on the power play. The Wild lose their first game of the year, and they played last night, so this is a back-to-backer for them, and they lose. Next was Detroit at Chicago. Entering the matchup, Detroit was 2-1 and 5 points. Chicago 0-4 and 1 point. Does Chicago keep losing? Well, let's find out. At the end of 60 minutes, the final score was 6-3. Shots on goal, the Red Wings 37, the Blackhawks 35. Saves 32 for the Red Wings, the Blackhawks 31 saves. In the power play, Detroit was 1 for 8 on the power play, with Chicago 1 for 4. This is Chicago's 5th loss. What's going on with the Blackhawks? We don't know. 6 games so far. They have lost 5 of them and got only 1 point. They lost in regulation in like a overtime or a shootout. 1 point. Something weird's going on with Chicago. Just like with Montreal. What's going on with Montreal? We'll wait and see. And finally, the nightcap. The Knights take on the New York Islanders. Islanders play again. Entering the matchup, the Isles were 2-1 and 5 points. Vegas 1-3-0 and 2 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Knights get shut out by a score of 2-0. Shots on goal, New York Islanders 26, Vegas 42. Shots on goal, the saves were 42 for the Isles, the Knights 24. Both teams were 0 for 2 on the power play. The Knights are 1-4 for the year. After winning their first game of the season, they have dropped 4 straight. What's going on with the Knights? I cannot tell you. So we'll wait and see. I do root for the Knights too. And folks, the only time you see me wear this jersey is for these videos. And most people see my Blues videos. But when the Blues are not playing, I'll wear this. But when the Knights are, I'll wear this jersey when the Blues are not playing. But any other time, you'll see my Blues jerseys on. Okay? So let's get into tomorrow's games. And I'll tell you what I picked for the games, okay? Starting off with Tampa and Buffalo. Entering the matchup, Tampa is 2-1 and 5 points. Buffalo 3-1 and 7 points. I'm gonna go Buffalo. I think Buffalo will do good. Next, Washington at Ottawa. Washington is 3-0-2 and 8 points. Senators are 2-3-0 and 4 points. I'm going Washington. I think Ovechkin will beat Ottawa. Next, Arizona at Florida. Arizona is 0-4-1 and 1 point. Florida 5-0-0. I'm going for the undefeated. I'm going Florida. I think Florida will beat Arizona. I think the losing streak will continue. Next, Calgary at the New York Rangers. Calgary is 2-1-1 and 3 points. Entering the matchup, Rangers are 4-1-1 and 9 points. I'm going Rangers. I think Rangers will do it. I think New York will probably do good. Next, Toronto at Carolina. Toronto is 2-3-1 and 5 points. Carolina undefeated 4-0-0 and 8 points. I'm going for Carolina, and I can't wait to find out what this next storm surge will be. Next is Dallas at Columbus. Dallas enters the matchup at 3-2-0 and 6 points. Columbus is 3-2-0 and 6 points also. Same record basically. I'm going Dallas. Dallas will do it. Finally, the nightcap is the Kings at the Blues. Entering the matchup, the Blues are 4-0-0. Kings are 1-3-1 and 3 points. You know, I'm going for the Blues. I will not turn my back on the Blues at all. Sorry. You'll never see me really go against the Blues. Especially if they're taking on the Knights. I will always go for the Blues. I'm sorry. So that is it for this video. I was checking the schedule and I got the Blues calendar on my wall and I was checking the schedule. And some division teams were taking only 3 times. Some teams were taking on 4 times. It's kind of weird. But it's that weird thing. But you know what though? We got a good long season. I hope to see you guys later today. And remember, I love you guys a lot. I'll see you guys later tonight for the post game report for these games. And then, so until then, peace out.